Hey guys, Christian here. Welcome back to another video. So, does your BMW ride like poop? Are you getting misfires every once in a while? Does your car magically go into limp mode every time you try to drive it aggressively and it loses most of its power? Or maybe you're getting one of the fault codes that I'm gonna put here on the screen. Well, good news. I might have the solution to get your BMW to run smooth again. And the best part is that it's very easy to DIY with basic tools, and it'll only cost you around $3 to fix. I'm gonna show you guys what the potential issue could be. So in the engine bay, underneath these hoses, behind the fan here, there are two parts that are inserted into the engine. They're called the vanos solenoids. It's very hard to see. Let me see if I can bump up the exposure. You see this metal clip right there? That's one of the vanos solenoids. There's two of them. There's an exhaust one and an intake one. Essentially what those two parts do is they control variable camshaft timing. So if they fail, then your engine just starts to act up. And this is a very common issue on BMW cars, especially high mileage ones, and it's typically overlooked. You see, you get misfires, car goes into limp mode, most people think injectors, spark plugs, coil packs, high pressure fuel pump, and it can very well be just the vano solenoid, which you can fix for almost nothing most of the time. You're probably like, a $3 fix? What's the catch? Clickbait. Guys, this is the $3 fix right here. Brake cleaner. Of course, you can go ahead and replace both vano solenoid and it's going to fix the issue, but each solenoid is like $150 OEM from BMW. If you buy it aftermarket, they're around $75 each, which is still a big chunk of money. Most of the time, you can just fix the issue with the solenoids by just giving them a good clean with brake cleaner, and that's it. You won't have those misfires, you won't have that limp mode, and you have a very smooth drive. So this DIY that I'm going to perform today specifically for the N54 and N52 engines, any other modern BMW, also has the vano solenoid issues, but you're going to have to look up the DIY online. But it's pretty much going to be the same concept. You remove them, you clean them, you insert it back in. Alright, so in order to get to where the solenoids are at, I'm going to go ahead and make some space here. I'll remove the intake snorkel, the engine cover, maybe move these hoses out of the way, and then I'll show you how to remove the solenoids. You see, luckily for me, I didn't have the bolts to the cover fastened back there, so I didn't have to take all this freaking crap off to get to it. So I was able to just slide it right out since I only had one bolt on the lower right side. This should give me enough room to get the solenoids out. As you can see, there's one right here, that's the intake one, and then the one just below it is the exhaust one. As you can see, they're both held up by these electrical plugs, one here and the one right below it, right down there. And then so we're gonna go ahead and remove those plugs, and then there's two bolts, one there and one right up there that it's really hard to see. Once you disconnect those bolts and remove the electrical plug, they come right out. Since it's a very tight squeeze down there, I'm gonna go ahead and put some microfiber towels in that gap there, for two reasons. One, in case the bolt falls when I'm loosening it, and two, since these two parts are like directly inside of the engine, there is a chance that oil can come out, and we want to make sure it doesn't spill down there. And talking about oil dripping, is probably a very good idea if you're looking to do this to your car. Let it sit for like 45 minutes to an hour so all the oil can settle at the bottom. That way there's less of a risk of making a mess. Like I said, this metal clip right here, you just push it down and you should be able to, yep, there you go. The electrical connection should come right off. I'll do the same to the one down there. Just press it and you should be able to pull it right off. It is a very tight squeeze here. All right, there you go, it's off. It's a very, very tight squeeze to get back here, that's for sure, but it's definitely doable. Now that the connectors are undone, the two bolts I have to remove. It's a 10mm socket. Try to use a very small wrench like this one, that way you don't have any issues clearing the gap here. It might be a really good idea to use gloves because you're gonna just completely destroy your hands like I'm doing right now. Ouch. Alright, that's pretty easy. You should be able to remove the rest by hand since it's already very loose. Yep. And here's the bolt right here. Make sure not to lose this because you have to reuse it, and if you do lose it or damage it for whatever reason, you have to get the same exact bolts because it's what's gonna make the solenoid sit perfectly inside of the engine. Alright, so now to remove the top one, which I find much more difficult to remove than the bottom one. Alright, it's loose. Alright, so now for the easy part, you just gotta wiggle them out, like slightly rotate them, and they should be able to come out. So it was really hard to remove that solenoid by hand. It was pretty stuck on there, so I went ahead and got a flathead just to give it a little pry, and it became loose. So now I should be able to pull it right out. Yep, comes right out. Now to get the second one, yeah, it's pretty stuck on there, so you kind of do have to use a flathead, at least for my case, because by hand, no way. My God, I had to switch the camera off just to get this last solenoid. It was completely stuck. Flathead screwdriver wasn't working. I had to use a needle nose plier to help me out. I completely destroyed my right hand here, and a lot more in here, so I had to find a glove to put it on because my hand was just completely being destroyed. So yeah, that wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. This one was definitely stuck and much harder to get out. My God. I'm gonna go ahead and keep them organized. Left side is gonna be the upper intake solenoid, then the bottom one is the exhaust Vano solenoid. It doesn't really matter if you mix and match them because they're the same exact part, but since I pulled them out that way, I want to make sure I insert them back the same way. Anyways, let me go ahead and show you guys how to clean them properly, and then we'll install it back into the engine. I did forget to mention one important thing. When you're removing the solenoids, make sure that the rubber gasket comes out with them. In my case, I completely overlooked it, and the rubber gaskets are not here, meaning they still got stuck on the engine. The gaskets literally got stuck in there, and the top one as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove it with this pick tool. Make sure it doesn't fall, which is why we have those towels down here, just in case anything falls, you can just get it. And here it is, you see? That's a rubber gasket. You want to make sure that comes out with the solenoid. So that's one right there, and that is two. So it's the next day. I got kind of cut short yesterday because I had baby duty. So anyways, let's continue where we left off at. Hey, привет, как дела? So we have both Vano solenoids right here. Funny enough, I said I would organize them so I don't forget which one goes which, but I already lost track, but who cares? It's literally the same part number. 7516293, 7516293. Yeah, so whatever. Who cares? Anyways, we got the rubber gaskets right here. So the first thing we're going to do is clean the solenoids. Like I said, we're going to use brake fluid. You'll need a microfiber towel, and if you can, an air compressor can definitely help with cleaning them thoroughly, especially inside. You don't have to. You can just use a rag, kind of shake it off, wait for it to dry. But in my case, I'm going to spray brake fluid, air compressor, microfiber towel. If you guys are enjoying the video or finding it helpful, or maybe you think you'll find it helpful down the road, I appreciate it if you guys hit that like button. It really does help get the video suggested, and that way more people get to see this video and save money as well. And there goes the rain. That's all it takes. Brake cleaner, compressed air, microfiber towel. Check it out. We're primarily focusing on the inside. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's much cleaner. It had a bunch of like gunk and stuff built up. I know some of you guys are probably thinking, but hold on, isn't it always drenched in oil? So the oil kind of cleans it up. Well, here's the thing. If in the past you've used, let's say, I don't know, lower quality oil, or maybe you changed your oil late and there was a buildup that formed in there, that can cause a misfire, and also can cause a limp mode, which is when your car loses most of its power, which is another reason why you should stay on top of the oil changes and change it regularly. You see? Much cleaner. See, 9 times out of 10, just cleaning these will fix the issue without having to replace these expensive solenoids. So try to clean them first. If that does not work and you're one of the 10, that needs to replace them, then go ahead and replace them. Like I said, OEM ones are like 150 bucks each. You can get the aftermarket version for 70 bucks, but I would probably go OEM with a part that is as important as this one. As far as the seals go, normally when people swap out the solenoids for new ones, or they just take them out to clean them, they also replace the seals for new ones. I didn't buy new seals, and to be honest, I don't think I need to. Like, these are in like perfect condition. There's nothing wrong with them. Yeah, they pretty much look brand new, so I'm just gonna go ahead and reuse these. And real quick, for you guys that have been asking me for an update on Instagram on the upgraded turbos and the overall performance of the car, I'm on revision 2 for the custom tune, and while I was data logging, I actually got a fault and limp mode because of the Vano solenoid, which is why I'm making a video on this today. And hopefully this ends up fixing the issue, which it should. Then I'll finish getting the tune dialed in, and then I'll make a video on the performance, 0 to 60, quarter mile, all that good stuff. So if you haven't already subscribed, make sure and do that. So you guys see the slots, the bottom one, the top one, those are where the solenoids go. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that up with a rag real quick, and make sure it's nice and clean and there's no oil there. And there we go, much cleaner. I'm gonna go ahead and put the seal back onto the solenoid. There you go, nice and snug. Same for the second one. It's so much harder to like do work on your car and film at the same time so you guys can see it. It makes like the process take twice as long. So yeah, make sure and like this video and help a brother out. So they're pretty easy to install. You just put them in the same way you pull them out. You have this section right here that has the hole for the bolt. You just have to line that up with the engine, put the bolt, tighten it up, and then just connect the electrical plug, and that's it. Alright, so both Vano solenoids are completely installed. The electrical plug is plugged into the back of them, and the bolt is tightened up. Time to remove these rags out the way. Also, do yourself a favor, get yourself a glove. My right hand got completely destroyed working with this very small and confined area. If you got small hands, then you know what, you're fine. But if you got medium to large hands, this gets very, very tight in there. Also, a tip when you're inserting the solenoids inside of the engine, they don't just go right in. You have to kind of wiggle them in, and they just kind of fall into place. Once you get to the point where they're not fully in, but just a little bit, you just got to give it a really nice push. They click in, then you just have to maneuver the little piece that aligns with the bolt hole, and then you do the same for the other one. As far as the electrical plugs, based on how they're tied up, you're going to know which one is which. The shorter one is going to be for the top intake one, and then the longer one, which comes underneath, is going to be for the exhaust one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the intake snorkel back on and the engine cover. Then I'll turn on the car, run some codes, and make sure everything is clear. But like I said, typically with these faults from the Vano solenoid, you'll turn off the car, turn it back on, and it's gone. Typically they come up when you drive a little bit hard. So we'll take the 335i for a drive. I'll do some data logging just to make sure everything is good. Alright, time to start her up. So far so good. We have no engine light. Let me go ahead and open up MHD and see if we have any codes. So as you can see, intake Vanos activation, exhaust Vanos activation, exhaust Vanos mechanism. So we're gonna go ahead and clear the codes. All right, we'll go ahead and turn off the car. Just gonna wait a couple seconds and turn it back on. Okay, we're gonna go right back to MHD and read the DME codes. Exhaust gas flap activation, and that's it. So the Vanos codes went away. So now we're gonna go ahead and go for a little drive. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and put data logging on. All right, traction control off. There we go. Guys, the new VRSF exhaust sounds so freaking good. Listen. It's so good. I'll tell you something, the weather is not the best for data logging because the roads are wet right now, but I think we should be all right. We're gonna want to go into third gear, 2500 RPM. All right, here we go. So I just got to the garage. I graphed the log for the little run that I just did. Boost level is good. Engine, everything's great. Everything's running smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and send this log over to my tuner so he can finish up with the custom tune. We also have no engine light, no limp mode, so it looks like we solved the problem. And just to make sure, let's go ahead and read the codes again. There you have it. We don't have no more codes for the Vanos. Good. Well, there you have it, guys. That's how you stop your car from running like poop. There's also another video that I highly recommend you guys watch. It's on 2 parts. Every BMW needs to replace before it's too late. I'll put it in a card like right here in this area. If it's not here, I'll link it down in the description below. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, make sure and hit that like button. If you want to see more in the future, make sure to subscribe with the notification bell on. And as always, thanks for watching. Till next time.